Good evening, viewers. Welcome back to another Wednesday evening Tier 3 race this week. As you can see, of course, we are around Austria, Red Bull Ring, Spielberg, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm very good at geography anyway. I'm joined once again by my regular co-commentator on Wednesday evenings, TJM1992. TJ, how are we this evening?
I'm very good, thanks yourself, Bill.
I'm not too bad, not too bad. Not quite got a speech prepared tonight, I've been a bit busy, unfortunately. So, we'll do it on the fly, as we are spectating force manure on an outlap, as we can see. Some drivers already out there. Let's see what tyres people are going for. Soft tyres for the entire field. We have seen a feature so far this season. Some of the drivers have decided to stick on a set of mediums in Q1, but it doesn't look like TJ1's going to be doing that, at least so far.
No, it doesn't surprise me. I think it's a tough. I mean, it's probably pretty early to talk about strategy, but I think it's a tough calling strategy for this race. The tyre wear on the track is pretty low, so they might potentially start on the medium surveys.
Yep, of course, tyre not too bad around here. A feature of this very short circuit, really, especially in terms of lap time as well. Expect to see some 104s for definite. Potentially some drivers sneaking in to the 103s. Got now coming through sector 2 here. Avoids the invalidation there on the inside curb. Did well to do so. Coming around the final corner. Let's see if we can target that time of Aspenio's. 105.7 from him. And Force Manure over the line. It's a 105.3. And Belente going 4 tenths faster with a 104.9.
Yeah, good luck from Belente there. I think any guys that get below a 105 flat is pretty safe in the session. Definitely spin it, and TJ will definitely be looking to go again for them sort of times.
I've been reliably informed we've got 3 drivers in the field tonight that we haven't had the chance to commentate on before, as Willie Bum goes fastest in with a 104.8. I believe the new drivers are Aspenio, we'll go Dobby, we'll just call him Dobby. I'm not going to try and do the last bit of that name, and the third one didn't join us, did they? It would have been Steel Burrito.
Yeah, that's right, but we do have a bit of returning legends of Mr. Whippy.
Mr. Whippy back from real world actions, and well, we won't mind us saying we're very glad to have him back, and I'm sure he'd rather be with us where he potentially might have found himself, but he's back on track. And we love Mr. Whippy, of course, an FPRO legend. Hopefully back on the comms very soon as well with somebody, as Maxi goes 104.8. The ones to watch, surely this man here, Adrian, who is invalidated on his first effort, will go again, of course. No, those in the league, the other drivers, will know of his time trial pace at the very least. Do you think it's a real walk away with this one, Adrian, or do you think, Nigel Piggle's not here tonight? That's something obviously we'll have to discuss a bit later on, but do you think there's anyone that can target his pace around Austria?
Yeah, obviously, I think the only driver out there that can target Adrian Snedden. He has shown some fantastic pace there and is the championship leader currently. So I expect he'll take him to the challenge.
Yep, hopefully we get to see a battle at the front, of course. That's what we're all here to watch. Adrian now on his second flying run, this set of tyres, but his tyres won't be too badly damaged from that. As we've mentioned, tyre wear not too much of a factor around this circuit. He's going to get held up by some traffic coming into the pits. No, avoids invalidation despite looking like he definitely ran wide there. It's a 104.2 as an opening effort in Q1. That's a brilliant time from Adrian.
Yeah, it says, I mean, I'd be expecting to see that in Q2, not Q1, so yeah, he's like throwing down his marker there, and that's going to take something special to beat at this point.
Another driver who's back this week, Gordo. I don't think we've seen him for a couple of races. We know he had some decent-ish pace, really, in the opening rounds of FPRL. Back once again, as I mentioned, and he'll be hoping to get up there today. What do you think his target's going to be, TJ? I know we've seen him in Q3. Do you think he'll manage it here, or do you think the rest of the field's kind of moved a long way since he's been gone for a couple of races?
I do think the field has moved along since he's been gone. So I do think we've got some quicker drivers in here, and the drivers that are already have got a bit more experience in cars, and obviously found some techniques here and there. I imagine they'll be aiming for Q3. And he probably will make it, I think, but it won't be a walk. I can't remember the words. He won't walk it to Q3, I don't think.
That's why you don't drink, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise you will stumble your words. Don't drink and commentate. It's a curse, if anything. David Lowface here. We might have cursed him as he's invalidated this run. Coming around the final corner, opts to stay out, of course. We'll look to go again. 10 minutes left of Q1 now. There is 6 drivers yet to set a time. If Swilzer leave the session, we have got reports, I think, as the rest of the F1 game community has, that there is an issue with some lobby desyncing and connectivity issues. It's something to watch out for. We don't see too much of that this evening, fingers crossed, but then again, Cobus builds a brilliant game each year, so I'm sure we won't see any of that. Of course, David Lowface seems like he's on a fast lap at the moment. Anyway, yellow flag out. I think it's one of the Williams drivers around the final corner. Magsy on his out lap at the moment, just about to start his fast lap. He is second at the moment on the 104.8, TJ. Brings me to my point, probably. What kind of time do you think the drivers will be looking at getting before they sit out the rest of the session?
I think obviously we still got 4 pretty quick drivers, or 5 pretty quick drivers on set times here. So taking that into account, I reckon they're probably going to aim for a 105.3, 105.2.
105.3, 105.2. Well, that would put them around T-Jerk and Force manure level at the moment in the times. That's not a bad shout, I think. No disrespect to Force Manure and T-Jerk, but they have been kind of on the bubble in Q1 the majority of this season. So we're about to see Magsy then set another time from second place. Obviously with the tyre being so low here, of course the drivers will be able to do multiple runs on these tyres and use them later in qualifying if necessary, and Magsy does improve by a tenth to go second with a 104.6, basically 104.7, 8 thousandths under that time, as we've got a spinner off turn 1. Is that Tadas?
No, it's Naden that's spun, and that was on his fast laps as well, so he's having a bit of issues out there. He's over Q1, he's already tried to do a lap and invalidate it and then spun it at turn 1.
Perhaps not feeling very comfortable at the minute. Snedden already done a lap on those tyres. Have to go around and do another lap. El Gord's another one who's invalidated once again. He's already been out there and invalidated once, back into the pits for a new set of tyres once more for the Mercedes man. Mr. Whippy popped a time in as we were talking there, 105.9 from him. Currently out the drivers that have set a time at the back, but he has joined the session really with very little notice and very little practice, so I still think he'll be happy to be that close to the back of the field despite not being able to have time to practice earlier today. Oh, and just as I say that, right on board with him, he's dropped it coming out of turn... Is that turn 5, I think it is? I think the little kinks 3 into 4 into 5. I don't know, 100%. We're not very good with corner numbers here. But, yeah. He has dropped it and he's out of the session. There you go. And will take no further part in qualifying. As I said, he had a little practice really. He was into the session late on, so I think he can still take something there with that time, that at least he's, you know, kind of in the relative pace of the drivers in the field.
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned, he hasn't had much practice currently, Mr. Whippy. And he has had to practice as well, in all fairness. And this track as well, I mean, we haven't touched on it just yet, but you know very well on this track currently that the car doesn't seem very planted to the track, and once again, Codemasters have coded the track line. It's fantastic around here.
Yeah. Oh, we're in a we've got a bit of a conspiracy theory that they've changed something these last couple of weeks. I think there's a hidden update somewhere, but yeah, this track doesn't feel as good to me as it did at the start of the game. I know they had the handling change midway through the game, but yeah, definitely a little bit more of a challenge, as we found out already, for Mr. Whippy. Anyway, El Gordo on his outlap. It's FPRL Locker as well, who hasn't set a time. He's warming up his tyres at the moment. Just about to start a flying lap then. Only 2 drivers yet to set a time. Swills and David Lawface both in the drop zone at the moment. 16th and 17th respectively. Got 5 minutes left of the session. We saw there for a brief moment before the yellow flag popped up once again. And with how small this track is, how short it is in terms of length, is traffic an issue around here, or do you think they'll all find space to kind of get a lap in?
I do think traffic can be an issue, especially if there's, I know, 3-4 drivers on a cool-down lap and they're all coming down to the back end of the track. All it takes is on a fast lap and they've got to find a way out of the way. So yeah, that's always the danger about this track, because it's so short that drivers will just perhaps do one push, that cool-down push again. But obviously, as we get through the qualifying sessions, that the traffic shouldn't be an issue.
Yep, of course, we will lose another 4 drivers from this session. We already know we're losing 1. Mr. Whippy crashed out earlier on in qualifying. Then El Gordo gets his time on the board, a 104.9 from him, and FPRL Locker as well into 7th now with a 104.8. That puts Force Manure then, as you predicted, TJ, that 105.3. That is currently the time to beat to get yourself into Q2, and Espenio at the moment in his first qualifying session is currently in the gravel, but he's currently into Q2 as things stand.
Yeah, I mean, outside bottom 5 currently, I imagine that the most disappointed person will be David Ballface. I know he's been unfortunate recently in a couple of races, but he'd certainly be expected to have more pace than what he's shown here currently.
Yep, every chance he will improve. He has got time to do so. He needs to find just over half a second as El Gordo takes an interesting line into the pit lane there, crossing the grass, but will get around again for another lap should he need it. But TJ predicts he's safe with that 104.9. I'd have to agree with you. To be honest, Tadas is still on a set of soft tyres. I think he's used these the entire session. They've done 4 laps so far then.
I'm surprised we've seen more drivers do what Tadas done here, just sails on the track with tyres and just keep going round. You know, the tyre wear is pretty low, so drivers can constantly cool down and push if they wanted to, obviously.
Yep. And I've seen a few drivers come into the pits, get a new set of soft tyres on and go back out, but of course that takes the kind of new sheen, the new edge off those fresh tyres. As Tadas, even with 5 lap old softs now, goes into 4th place with a 104.5. Very good lap from him there. Only, well, exactly 2 tenths off his teammate.
Yeah, I mean, I think we discussed this last week with Tadas that he's beginning to show some real true pace in his races, and I think he's been encouraged on by his teammates to close that gap between himself and Snedden. And yeah, he's certainly shown out that lap that he is improving constantly and pulling that gap closer to Snedden.
Yeah, definitely. It was something, as you mentioned, we spoke about last week at Silverstone as Derek Lawface invalidates on a crucial lap for him. And he'll have to take the punishment of going for another fast lap and runs wide as well there. I wonder if that's invalidated his next run. We'll see as he crosses the line. I think he's just about got away with it then, and he will start another. It seems like he's having issues in the car though, TJ. I don't know if it's just me. If you just ride with him, it just seems like he's just struggling. I don't know if something's happened with David Lawface here, but he doesn't look comfortable in that Ferrari at all. He's now 6/10 off his timing in sector 1, I should say. Doesn't look comfortable at all.
Yeah, I'm just, as you mentioned, just on board with him now, and yeah, it just looks like something's off. Like he's struggling to exit the corners. It's like he hasn't got the traction to pull out the corners currently.
And we'll see if he gets another time in 3-lap old tyres. Tadas has shown us that you can improve despite being on worn tyres. TJ now the man in trouble in 15th with a 105.2. We'll see if he improves from that. Aspenio in the pit lane and will be out there along with Swilzer. So the only drivers at the minute that can get through, I was about to say, is David Lawface, but he's back in the pits as well. Perhaps backing up what we were saying. Did not seem comfortable at all. Force Manure currently in 17th. Should get around again if he's going to take another fast lap, but comes into the pits with a very interesting entry there. But he's out of Q1. TJ crosses the line, doesn't improve, nearly 2/10 down on his effort then. We've got Dobby coming around the final corner now. Let's see if he can improve for the final sector. Comes across the line fractionally faster and beats his teammate into 12th place. Valente then, let's see what he can do. Coming around the final sector now. I hate these final couple of corners. You have to really ride the curve there and completely avoid the last one, as we know all too well. Valente across the line. It's a 104.6 and good time from him to go 5th fastest. And especially on 4-lap old tyres. And FPRL Locker crossing the line as well. 600ths up on his time, but not enough to improve on a place in Q1 then. So we have our 5 drivers which are out. You've done it again this week, TJ. You've correctly predicted the cutoff. A 105.2. You're on a 2 win streak now.
Keep it up, boys. I'm happy on this. Keep it up. Come on.
Yeah. Well, very impressive as TJ retires from the session in the pit lane, of course. We're just waiting for Gordo to be wheeled back into his garage. And we'll get the final classification from Q1 then. There you have it. Fastest guy in the session. I think to no one's surprise really. Especially those around him. Adrian, 104.0. Nearly 4/10 up on Snedden in second place. We expected a close fight between those two. We know Snedden's got it in to pull the lap out of the bag, so there's still a chance there for that. Magsy back this week after an absence last week. 3rd place for him in Q1. He'll be happy with that. But the 5 drivers we lose from Q1 today. Aspenio on his FPRL debut. Force Manure, David Lawface, Swilzer, and Mr. Whippy then. The Haas team occupying row 10 at the back and hoping for a better race than they had in qualifying. Anyway, I think we've got some technical issues, TJ. Apparently everyone's saying that it sounds like you've swallowed your microphone.
Fantastic.
So we might need to sort something out with the party, so we'll back shortly. We'll just try and correct that, hopefully for Q2. There we go. We're back. For the second part of qualifying. Let's hope TJ doesn't sound like he swallowed his microphone this time. Thanks for that in the chat. We've got here... Yeah, other people in the chat, of course. Silverside Boy, well done, Biddle, you jinxed him. Thanks for that, Gary. Pointing out the obvious there in Q1. The DNF of Mr. Whippy. I'm Not Good says got purple middle sector, then when invalidated, I'm going to jump off a skyscraper.
I mean, please don't. We don't encourage that, obviously.
A little bit dramatic there. We got Lola Lulu says that she's driving Locker's car. Well, you've done well to get P6 there, love. Great time in Q1. And LWS Yorkie says Adrian is flying and then subscribed at tier 1. Brilliant stuff. Thanks for that, Yorkie. Dropping the subs. Hoping to get us a little bit of pocket money to reinvest into the league, of course. And he also says she's on tier 1. So, oh, and we've got A. Brooks, Brookie Min from tier 1 saying Kareem at the double.
Oh, that must
Kareem the dream.
That must mean that Chelsea losing in the Champions League.
But we're not talking football here. We're not talking football here. Let's talk FPRL. I don't know anyone that's a Chelsea fan anyway, so...
No.
We'll gloss over that one. Mercer Field then opting for the medium tyres here in Q2. And 4. One of those is El Gordo. And Adrian, interestingly enough, is out on the soft tyres. That's an interesting one.
I mean, for how short this track is and how quick you can get a lap in, I don't see what you've got to lose by not trying to set a lap on the mediums here.
Well, Tylas is about to show us what the other drivers are missing out on. It's a 105.5 from him on those mediums. Most likely not enough to get himself through into Q2. He'll surely need to go again there, barring, of course, if everyone decides to stay on the medium tyres. But I imagine a lot of drivers will opt to change to the softs, but Dobby there with a 104.8 on those mediums. It's a good time from him.
Yeah, fantastic pace considering it's his first showing for FPRL. As Al Gordo only just managed to go quick on the soft tyres. And Skivvy's out, so he's dropped it in sector 3.
Oh, Skivid. That's unfortunate for him. He would have been hoping for much better from this qualifying session. He's right in the middle of the track as well. Drivers having to do a good job at avoiding him there, parked directly in the middle of the track. TJ made light work of getting past him though. Comes around the final corner on the medium tyres and crosses the line with a 105.7 to bring up the tail of the field then. The drivers that have put a time in so far, as Mongo then with a 105.3. Hobnob at the moment also only with a 104.9 then. So interestingly at the moment the soft tyre runners haven't found the pace, and it's Magsy on the mediums with a 104.7 that currently is ahead in Q2.
I think this is one of the strange tracks on the calendar where the difference between the soft and medium tyres isn't too much. I think by general rule it's about half a second to a second difference. But around here, I do generally think it's only a couple of tenths difference between the tyres.
I'm Not Good crossing line with a 104.9. Yeah, just backing up what you said there, TJ. Perhaps the gap between the tyres really isn't as big as what you think it might be. Adrian's invalidated the second push lap as well on the soft tyres. Will be into the pits, I assume, to put another set on. He would not want to start the race on those, and he does indeed come into the pits then. Snedden out there at the moment on the medium tyres, throwing it around the final couple of corners. one of the guys we expect to be towards the front of the field, especially in qualifying, crossing the line, and a 104.3. That's a brilliant lap there from Snedden69 to take the fastest time so far in Q2.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic lap for him there. I think he's just about matched, maybe got a bit quicker than he's one time on the soft, so he's shown he's got the pace, but once again, I don't know how much quicker he would be on the softs. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that the delta between the set of tyres is really minimal.
I did note that Adrian set a 104.0. It was on soft tyres, of course, but it was invalid. That's why it's not on the board. He has, interestingly enough, selected the medium tyres now in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think he's got some. He's got to match the strategy of Snedden if he wants to win this race. I think. I don't think he can afford to start on the softs, even though tyre wear is low. Obviously, the softs will wear quicker than the mediums. And I do think the strategy on these is to start on the mediums and go to softs for the last stint.
Yeah, and I think the majority of the field agree with you. It'll be interesting to see the drivers that come in to put the softs on. Adrian's done the reverse of what most drivers do in qualifying. He's come back in from the softs, put on the mediums, perhaps seeing what everyone else is doing, and deciding then to follow suit as I'm Not Good comes around the final corner, invalidates, crosses the line.
Oh,
slightly slower anyhow.
Stardust just dropped it after turn 2.
Let's have a look on board with I'm Not Good then. That's a very interesting place to lose the rear end.
He must have touched the grass or something to drop it there. I mean, I've never known I don't know many drivers that would lose the car there.
Tadas never seemed comfortable on those medium tyres. His first lap 105.5, we knew it weren't going to be quick enough. And now obviously won't take any further part in qualifying then, so Skibid and Tadas both out in Q2. I wonder if that's going to change many drivers' opinions as to swapping to the soft tyres. A couple of drivers at the moment, Valente, Mongo thinking about a soft tyre run. T-Jerk's out there now on the soft tyres. Adrian, as we know, has pitted for the mediums. We're watching FPR Locker at the moment. He's currently set a 104.9 and invalidates through whatever corner that is. The corner with some kind of number assigned to it. And we'll come back into the pits then. The drivers seem to be struggling on this pit entry. Very deep there. We saw Force Manuel struggle earlier on as Adrian then pips Snedden with a 104.2. Great time from him. See if he pushes again as well. Only just quicker than Snedden though. Graphic does say soft tyres, but it's the same compound, so perhaps we will get some competition then. TJ crosses the line 105.1, and then I think Hobnob over the line as well, a 104.8 from him. He stayed on the soft tyres then and still can't get anywhere near the top of the time despite the tyre advantage.
I don't know about you, but it looks like the track is going very dark.
It is going dark. We were told that it was dry for qualifying. Just wondering if we might see a bit of rain, a sprinkling of rain maybe for Q3. It looks like it might stay dry for the rest of Q2 at the very least, as Adrian goes even quicker on those mediums and a 103.9 into the 103s on mediums. That's a brilliant time from Adrian, and yeah, perhaps not giving him much evidence to back him up that he shouldn't be in this tier, at least on one lap pace anyway. T-Jerk just sneaks into the top 10 for now by less than half a tenth. 105 flat for him. Valente is out there on an outlap though, trying to get ahead, back ahead I should say, of the Alpine. Mongo as well out there at the moment, only slightly up on his time at the moment. He'll be looking to improve from 12. Surely he's got the time to get up from the 12th position, but we haven't really seen the best of Mongo this season, I don't think. He's got in the points on occasion, but I don't think we've seen his true pace really so far.
Yeah, I think that's the same for a lot of drivers, and I'm feeling the same in Tier 2. Just like the pace that some of the guys showed in the back end of Season 2 and even pre-season, to be honest, as the season started, they just haven't really shown the true potential. And yeah, it's just like something's changed in the game that is it's probably hindered performance.
Well, he's managed to sneak into the top 10 for now. It's a 104.9 for Mongo. Puts TJ back into the bottom 5 then, so the drivers at the moment who are in danger. TJ, Balente, Panic End. We know we're going to lose Tadas and Skivid from this part of qualifying. Panic End yet to really put a representative time in qualifying so far. Just over 3.5 minutes, I should say, left, as he invalidates at the same place where Locker did earlier on. Drivers struggling at that part of the track, and I think it's pretty renowned to be a part of the track in which it's so difficult to nail really in terms of pace. Mongo on a cooldown lap then, really get back in and out once more. Balente then improves by half a second to go third fastest. Seddon's dropped it. We just got on board with him there. He's pointing the wrong way out of turn 4, I think. It's turn 3, is it? It's turn 3. He's lost part of his front wing there as well. Spins it back round just before the McLaren behind him comes up to him. I think it is the McLaren of I'm Not Good. Yeah. So I'm Not Good persisting with the medium tyres. They're 3 lap old now. Those tyres are 104.9 from him so far. Not safe by any means. At the moment, not looking like he's going to improve on this lap either. So surely then, I'm Not Good in trouble. It all depends what Panic End can do, along with Locker and T-Jerk. T-Jerk currently in the pits. We know he was on a cooldown lap back in to get some fresh tyres on. Panic End now around the final couple of corners. Gives it very nicely through the final corner. It's steady, but is it fast? Across the line, 105.1 isn't enough to get into the top 10, and is that now him out of qualifying?
It certainly looks that way. I mean, like I say, he struggled to get a lap in, and doesn't look like he's pushing now. So I think that's the end of his. Oh, he's probably got time to set another lap. Maybe he's recharging his batteries at this point, but yeah, he's not really. He's not looked like he's been comfortable with the car throughout the qualifying sessions at the moment. There's TJ because we tied in the pit. He'll take no further part here, so Locker's probably Locker will be looking to get into the top 10 for definite. I think he has got the pace to do it. But I'm Not Good. He's definitely looking at danger here, and I'm surprised we're not seeing Mongo. Or Mongo is going back out now. So I'm Not Good. I think he'll miss Q3 here.
Well, Locker crosses the line and sticks his car 6th then, with a 104.7. That should be enough to get through to the final part of qualifying. Has to use a set of the soft tyres in the process though. And Willy Bum and El Gord both choosing to retire in the pits on mediums then, so they'll start for definite on those tyres in the race, of course, barring any rain. We think it's a dry race. Dobby Knox, is it? Dobby Knox? I don't know. I have no idea how to say that name. He's 9th place at the moment. He's on a set of the soft tyres as well, TJ, but I think, at least on my camera anyway, there's definitely droplets coming down at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. And yeah, we called it at the beginning of this, about 5 minutes ago actually, and the Mongo wouldn't want to be seeing this at this point.
He's on an outlap. He's about to start a fast one.
Yeah, and the rain's
indeed getting in.
coming down quicker, so we'll see how much it's going to affect him in a minute as he gets through sector 1, as he opens DRS. And he's almost 2 tenths down already. And he's gone wide at turn 3 there, so yeah, the track's definitely has gone slippy for him at this point, and I can't see how he's going to improve. Nonetheless, he has fantastic sectors, sector 2 and 3 here, but as George now is going through these corners, and yeah, he's pulled out, so he isn't going any quicker.
Well, that's it then. The rain has decided Mongo's fate there, falling a little bit too heavily at this part of the session to improve on his time, and he will be 11th on the grid for the race. Some say tactical pole. We'll be hoping so as well. We'll be disappointed to be out in Q2, so close to making it through. Looks like we're going to have a wet Q3 anyway, TJ, but something to note on that timing screen. I'm not good if it is a dry start for the race, which we think it is, especially with all the drivers changing it up in terms of tyre compound. 6 lap-old mediums for the start of the race.
Yeah, that's not decent for him at all. Okay, we know tyre wear's low on this, but doing 6 laps already, plus his out lap, so he's already done 7 laps on. He's got to do a formation lap on the tyres as well. He'll be having a very early pit stop, and he'll struggle to get the medium soft strategy to work here.
You might be hoping for some safety cars in the race or a bit of rain, but it's no change at the top of the times. Adrian, fastest once again by 3/10 once again from Snedden, both on the mediums then for the start of the race later on. Berlente third on the softs, highest of the soft runners. He'll be looking to get the jump on the front row at the start of the race. Willy Bum and El Gord, good times from them to go 4th and 5th. We've seen some pace from Willy Bum recently, getting himself up there once again. I'm not good, as we mentioned, having those 6 lap old medium tyres at the start of the race. They'll be absolutely painful come about lap 5, maybe 10 in the race. But we have lost 5 drivers in Q2. They are Mongo, T-Jerk, Panic End, Tadas, who is the shock one that crashed into the wall coming up into turn 3, and Skibbid as well, who we saw crash towards the end of the lap then.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if we got a wet Q3 here, and we're about to find out. And as you predicted, Biddle, it is a wet Q3, and it does look like intermediate weather, intermediate tyres.
Intermediate tyres for everyone but Snedden at the moment. I imagine we'll change onto the intermediates. There we go. Onto the intermediates now for Snedden as well. Then, so it'll be interesting to see if the correlation between the dry tyres and the wet tyres is there in terms of times. Whether Adrian can stick it on pole, or whether Snedden might find some more wet pace. I think he's having us on a bit here because he keeps changing between the tyre compounds. he keeps flashing onto the softs. Yeah, we can see you doing that, Snedden there. Don't tease us. Don't tease us. Come out on the softs. Give it a go.
Come on. He's coming off to intermediates. What a
shame. What a shame. Let's have a look then in the chat and see what's been said between Q1 and Q2. It's polar clock, gents, says David Lowface. I can't see the poll.
No,
if everyone else can see it, please vote in it. Unless it was already run, we don't know. RIP I'm Not Good's tyres. Yep, 6 laps done. We've called that one. Left it too late, says Yorkie. Yep. Referring to Mongo. David Lawface says my controller gets fraud of the day. I think we saw that, didn't we? We did comment. He did not look comfortable at all.
Yeah.
It seems like he's having some kind of controller issues. People advising I'm Not Good to stick the softs on and get the advantage. No, he was persistent to start on the mediums. Oh! And as I was mid-sentence there. Off the final corner. We saw it on the stream. Adrian just ran a little bit wide onto the curb, lit up the tyres and stuck it in the wall. And that is Adrian then out of qualifying.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have got our frauds of the day in Adrian.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think we'll... Is he in that poll? There's a poll for poll just gone up, and yep, Adrian is in the list.
I mean, Yes, I would like to say I'm shocked about him dropping it here, but when it was in Silverstone last week in the West, he didn't do well either. So I've got a feeling Adrian doesn't like driving in West.
No, definitely not. And I've got another feeling that he might be starting no higher than 10th at this rate, unless of course somebody else drops it, of course, and we know how well that goes for him when he starts mid-pack. So yeah, disappointing for Adrian then. We saw he just lit the rears up, spotted into the wall. Valente's car is all over the track for me here as he comes to finish his flying lap. I'm not too sure what's going on with the connection. 112.9 from him, and believe it or not, TJ, the minute Adrian dropped it into the wall, the results of that poll for pole, yeah, they've changed now. It's Snedden on the softs. It's the highest vote.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, yeah, in fact, my money right now, Snedden would be the pole sitter for me as well. But it's a game changer on the West. I mean, like, I'm not good, set a really good time there, 112.1. It's anyone's to take here, because I imagine these drivers haven't done any practice on the wet either.
Yeah, only the clever ones practice both weather conditions, and I'm definitely not one of those as Gordo crosses the line. Then now a 1:11.9. He then takes provisional pole position, finding some pace in the wet conditions. FPR Locker crosses the line to go fourth fastest with a 1:12.9 then. Good time from him to split Hobnob and Belente. Gets a little bit wild there on the exit of turn 1. Manages to keep it pointing in a straight line though. Wonder if he'll push again if possible. Belente improves slightly to go 1:12.6 then to go up to third. Gets himself back ahead of Hobnob on the second row. And round the final corner, we've got the two Williams then at the moment, Maxi and Willibum. I think Willibum invalidated, but Maxi then third fastest with a 1:12.6, and Dobby then across the line now and with a 1:12.7, and goes sixth fastest as Snedden then pops his car into second place as well, just behind Dobby.
Yeah, he made it. He made a lot of time in sector 3 there, because he was only 7 tenths up coming out of sector 2. So he made a lot of time up in sector 3 then, but still not quick enough. To be honest, he was struggling in the dry as well. He was slowly spinning in Q1 and Q2. So, I mean, he probably will get pole, but he has been struggling throughout this qualifying session.
He has been struggling so far, not quite up there on the top. Oh, a big swapper again for Locker then through turn 1. Invalidates this time round. He did improve slightly though on the lap before to go 7th, back ahead of Dobby then into 7th place. Drivers coming into the pits. It's Willibum who's not got a time on the board just yet, coming around the final corner now. Has he kept it clean enough? Has he kept it fast enough to get anywhere near his teammate in 5th at the moment? And he does indeed. Goes straight into 5th ahead of his teammate. The Williams boys coming on strong now, the pairing. Really have found some place in recent races, and Q3 almost mainstays now, and 5th and 6th at the moment will be very good for them in the race.
Yeah, certainly, as you say, both the Williams drivers have found a lot of pace recently, especially Willibum. He didn't have a good start to the season, but in the past 3-4 races, he's certainly found his form again, and yeah, as you say, both drivers are guaranteed Q3 nowadays.
FPR Locker just choosing to stay out there on the medium intermediate tyres, not coming in for a fresh set just yet. We'll start another flying lap then. In the chat at the moment, Neo Nemesis says it's anybody's game now. I think that's backed up by Gordo currently be on pole at the moment, despite being really nowhere near the front row in previous qualifying sessions. A. Brooks says once again, RIP everyone who voted Adrian. I think that's a total of 2 people. So RIP to those whopping 2 people who put their money on Adrian. But I imagine one of those is Adrian. So someone else has voted for Adrian there. Dobby comes across the line now with a 1:12.0 then. It's an all Mercedes front row at the moment. Gordo followed by Dobby there on the front row. TJ, is that a sign then that the track is coming back to the drivers? Because to me it definitely looks like the rain's falling a little bit less now. And Dobby's time, a huge improvement there.
Yeah, it does look like the track's coming to drivers, but it's worth noting as well that Dobby sat down on 4 lap hold and intermediates, and we know the trick of intermediates is you fuel your car up and you keep going round and round, so as you burn the fuel off the tyres, dig into the track a little bit, and you pick the pace up that way, so maybe that's a factor for this as well. As I'm on board with Valencia, and he's all over the show.
Yeah, it was interesting you said that actually, because Locker was 3/10 up before invalidating, so perhaps your theory there, yeah, paying dividends, especially for Dobby. Matt Hughes in the chat saying was going so well. I think there's a lot of love in the chat for Adrian right now, or not love, who knows. I'm Not Good says even if anyone puts a stonker lap and gets pole, it doesn't matter much. It all matters in the race. Well, there you go. You've heard it here from the man. It doesn't matter. This doesn't matter, people. Put your controllers down. There's no point. It all matters in the race. We'll see what Adrian can do in the race, who will now start in 10th. That nobody else has crashed out and managed to put a time in. Valente's connection, all over the place. I think you've said a couple of times now, TJ. Don't know if he's a victim of the desync bug that's currently present in F1 2021. Apparently said a purple second sector. Don't know how much I believe that. We've only got one more sector to find out whether this time is quick. Coming around then the final couple of corners now. Only avoiding validation, running wide. Yeah, keeps it very tight actually through these final couple of corners. Crosses the line. And it's 1:12. Oh no. What happened there? He did set a 1:12, then he desynced back to a 1:13.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the desync bug right there.
We're back on board with him. He's flying all over the track. So not an improvement by Valente there. Thanks for that one game. He'll look to go around again if he can. With the issues that he's having at the moment. Yeah, so it's an all Mercedes front row at the moment, TJ. There's a poll for pole out there in the chat. At the moment, it is Snedden on the softs currently winning that poll. He's on the intermediate, so we'll see if he comes out on the softs. But who's your tip for pole then? As someone said earlier, it's anyone's game at the minute with Adrian out. So
I am going to go for outside the chance in, only because he's shown. I mean, he's put a stonker lap in. I am going to say Gordo's going to take pole here. I mean, he hasn't raced in the league for a good while now, and he has been up there in Q2 as well. So yeah, I'll go to keep pole position here.
Well, we'll see if Snedden can challenge your choice for pole position. As Snedden comes around the final corner then, and will come across the line, and only stays P3. Was a 10th up through sector 2. Didn't improve enough through the final part of the lap. So 1:12.0 is match Dobby for time, although he's slightly slower and will only be on the second row as things stand unless he can improve on this last effort. El Gordo then currently slower than his time at the moment, 700ths down as things stand unless he can improve through the final sector. And the only driver in the 1:11s so far. 30 seconds left of the session, so we'll get another time in should he feel he wants to set another time, of course. Comes across the line, isn't an improvement. No, it isn't. He's a 10th down then, and that leaves the door open for Dobby. But he's 4/10ths down at the moment himself, and I don't know if he'll make the line here. He's got 10 seconds to go around the final couple of corners.
I don't know about you, but to me, the Rangers look like it's stopped, and the track is drying in places. And I wonder if drivers are struggling with the intermediates overheating.
Snedden's about to cross the line once again. Has he done enough to snatch pole position? He has for now. A 1:11.8 then. Yeah, the track drying up clearly for all to see on the screens. And Snedden then on the intermediates, not the softs. has taken provisional pole then.
Al Gore's won that.
Can Al Gore stop him? But he hasn't, no.
Now he's out of fuel. He's crawling around the track currently.
I'm not good back in the pits, so it'll be FPRL Locker who's next across the line, but he hasn't improved on his lap so far, so is he now struggling on those intermediate tyres coming around the final corner? He's invalidated now for good measure as well. It's Belente. Has he managed to sort his connection issues out? It doesn't look like it to me, but he's going to manage to set a time. I don't know if I'm going to believe the time it tells me, but he's ran wide and off the track there then. Maxi now across the line. And goes P4 then, 1:12.0 from him. And that is that then. Everyone gets their times on the board in the end. And it wasn't Snedden on the softs, but it was Snedden on the intermediates, who took pole with his last effort. And I think that's the first time in the entirety of qualifying that he has been top of the timing charts.
Yeah, that's right. Fantastic lap for him. Certainly the point where parts of the track looked like it was drying out, and drivers were definitely struggling with it looked like the tyres were struggling to grip the track and overheating slightly.
Well, there you have it then. It doesn't matter that he wasn't top of the charts throughout the entire qualifying. He was there when it mattered most. The last lap of the session on the intermediate tyre, Snedden takes pole position for the Tier 3 Austrian Grand Prix. El Gordo, a surprise second place, some might say. In fact, it's a surprise second and third place, really. El Gordo and Dobby in his first qualifying session in the wet, sticking that Mercedes on the second row. Third place for him. Brilliant drive in qualifying at least. Magsy in fourth. Welcome return to the top end of the grid for him. I'm not good in fifth place. He starts though on those very worn medium tyres, remember, so he's not expected to have a good opening stint unless there's an early safety car. Belente in sixth, Hobnob seventh, FPR Locker eighth, Willy Bum in ninth, not quite getting in the end to match the pace of his teammate in the Williams. But the huge talking point, TJ, going into the race, Adrian once again in qualifying, in a wet qualifying, unable to make it count, and will start in 10th place.
Yeah, that's he'll be very disappointed with that, considering the pace he was showing. He was banked on pole with the pace he was showing. It does look like we've got it's a dry race, but it does look very gloomy. But yeah, with a dry race, he'll obviously be open for a very quick recovery drive back up to the top. But we'll have to wait and see compared to other people and how much you get stuck behind other drivers.
Yep. We'll have to see, of course, yeah, like you said, how quickly he can carve through the field. I think at least he starts on the medium tyres for his sake anyway. Although he's going to have to try and get past the drivers on the soft. He has got that pace advantage, though. Just the raw pace, not the tyre pace, between the rest of the drivers. So expect him to at least make a good effort to make up some places early on in the race. I've lost the Twitch chat, TJ. If there's any messages of note in there.
Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, everyone was putting best in pieces to Adrian. Yorkie saying big up the Williams T3 boys, the car and the Williams and the constructors. And no, that's about it really. I'm not good at telling all the drivers, please don't ready up.
Well, they all seem to be listening then, so I'm not good.
Yeah, and
no one is ready.
And Silverside Boy seems to have confused the chat for football, as he's still talking about football on an F1 stream.
Well, on that note, I'm going to replenish and get myself a fresh bev and relieve myself in the toilet. Only number one, not a number two, not got time for that. But I'll leave you in the capable hands of TJ once again.
So as we mentioned, the big shock of this session so far is Adrian starts P10, but our championship leader Snedden does start on pole. But he did look like he was shoveling in the dry. In qualifying, was spinning the car a few times, but hopefully that was just because he was trying to push a bit too much. We all miss Piggle. I'm not good. I mean, there is obviously no one's been able to drop it in the pit lane or drop it going into a pit lane. That's all he was good for entertainment purposes. As people are eager to go, and I will remind people that you've got to wait for the lobby host to ready up. He will ready up when he's ready, give enough time for drivers to get their comfort breaks in, get a drink, get set up, sorted, strategies, and hopefully we'll get underway shortly for the formation lap. And the lobby host is ready up. Well, I'm hoping it's lobby host, and we'll get the formation lap underway very shortly. And we'll do the usual rundown of the top of the order for the grid as the drivers go around on this very short circuit. It is very quick, very short. As the drivers are starting the formation lap now, so we'll start right at the back. So on P20, I'll get some time adjusts up actually 2 seconds. Tyres, majority of the grid does start on medium tyres. So back of the grid, P20, Mr. Whippy, who's our first medium runner. P19, we've got Swilzer on the soft tyres. David Lowell facing P18 on the mediums. P17 for Manure on the soft tyres. P16 on his debut, Espinia on the medium tyres. P15 also on the medium tyres, we've got Skirrid. P14 on the mediums as well as Tadas, who had a bit of a disappointing Q2, but we're hoping for a very good comeback drive here. P13 we've got Panic, and P12 we've got T-Jerk, both on the soft tyres as well. P11 we've got Mongo on medium tyres, and as we go for the top 10, we've got Adrian on the mediums, who would be very disappointed with his Q3 performance, but hoping for a very good comeback drive here. Willie Bum and P9 on the mediums. And in P8 we got Locker, P7 we got Hobnob, and P6 we got Valente, all on the softs, and all the drivers from this point are on the medium tyres. So we got I'm Not Good in P5, Magsy's P4, Darby on his debut is P3, Al Gord in P2, and our championship leader sitting on pole, Snedden.
Snedden fraud on pole position. Pulling it out the bag, really, in qualifying. Of course, thank you for that there, TJ. And filling in for me. I've replenished, refreshed, had a wash. Now I'm back for a very disgusting turn 1, no doubt. Hopefully not.
I hope not.
Hopefully not. Fingers crossed.
I don't know when this is the breaking point decides we want late break, because that would be disastrous for for turn 1 here.
Yeah, as the drivers then pull onto the grid, we've got a lovely hazy camera angle there as Valente's car, I think that is, cuts through the field. Very decent here. And pulls into 6th place, delaying everyone, of course. His car doesn't seem to be going into the grid slot.
Oh no.
There we go, I think it's just about made it in there. It has indeed. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's away we go then for the Tier 3 Austria Grand Prix. Valente is decent absolutely everywhere. They're down into turn 1. He's left the session as well now then, but Snedden gets away cleanly off the line ahead of the 2 Mercedes, who still remain 2nd and 3rd as well. Hobnob's made us some places off the start. Adrian already up to 6th place from 10th. off the line, and great start by him, and it looks like for the most part the drivers have got away without any damage there.
Yeah, that's fantastic to see, especially what Valenti was doing off the line there with his desyncing and going around everywhere. Yeah, all drivers even up and down the grid, like they've got wings and tacks and stuff, so that was that's another great example of the Tier 3 guys showing how it should be done from race start.
I'll take it all back, Tier 3. Outstanding driving standards off the start there. It looks like no one's got any damage. Of course, we'll see as they all pass the pit lane on this opening lap, but Gordo has managed to keep right up to the back of Sneddon at the moment, hasn't let him get away. There's an Alpha Tauri round at the moment. It's Skivid, I think, who's dropped to 20th at the back. Looks like it's been a little bit of an issue with Valente's car holding up the Haas drivers as well. They're past him now, and he's coming to the pits as well. Valente's car, I don't know if he's retaken his seat. Mongo back into the pits as well. Then Skivid must have got damage there with the collision. I don't know who it was with, TJ. I don't know if you saw who that was, but off the line it is still Sneddon leading the way from the Mercedes drivers at the moment, 2 and 3, but Adrian up to 5th already.
Yeah, Adrian had a fantastic start, and it's gained 5 places already. That's really encouraging for the AlphaTauri driver. But this is where he might get stuck behind some of these quicker drivers and might not find it as easy to overtake. But as we know, DRS activates after this lap, and there is 3 DRS zones. Obviously, you'll only get 2 of them on lap 3, but that might be enough to pull him ahead of Magsy, although he is in a DRS train as such.
Yeah, in a DRS train, of course, and that will activate now. Oh, there's a Williams round at the final corner. It's Magsy who spun. Oh, they've managed to avoid him there. Has he managed to rejoin okay? He's down in 14th, no, he's still off the track. Now rejoining 7th, 16th, I think it is now. Adrian as well, looks like he got caught up in all that, and he's down to 17th.
Oh, what a nightmare. I think that Adrian had to take evasive action against Magsy, and he dropped it trying to avoid Magsy. As Magsy goes back on at turn 1, yeah.
Magsy ran again at turn 1, we just caught it. Magsy looked like he dropped the back end in the Williams, of course. He was running 4th, just ahead of Adrian. It looked like, yeah, he's got front wing damage as well now, Adrian. Nothing he could have done there to avoid the spinning Williams. But he'll have to pit to get rid of that front wing now, and that's going to be extra pain for him, and such a shame as well. Not only for him, but for us as well, because he made such a great start, and we were on for a fantastic race amongst the top 5. It's been reduced to a top 3 now, and Adrian will surely drop right to the back of the field then, having to take a pit stop for the damage to that front wing.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, there is still time to come back and safety car mix it back up and everything, but essentially, that safety car, Adrian's race is pretty much done. Unless he puts a set target on and tries to go to the end, but even so, that's asking for a lot of miracles. As Gordo is taking the lead.
Yeah, but Seddon's trying to get him on the cutback here, down into turn 4 then. With the DRS now, Seddon as well comes back up the inside. Brilliant racing between these two. We've seen Gordo find some race pace in some way. He's been able to tag onto the back of the Alfa Romeo and gets in Seddon, repasses Gordo then after he did pass him down into turn 2.
Yeah, it's fantastic from these top 3 drivers. They're racing so close to each other and they're being precise on their overtakes and getting out of corners. It's a fantastic example of real action. And I think the reason why Senna can't pull away is just because of all these DRS zones that just keep pulling along the Mercedes drivers.
Well, Hobnob was running 4th for Red Bull on his Red Bull debut. He's dropped down to 5th now. Tanas has got ahead of him. It looks like he was forming a bit of a train, especially compared to the top 3 at the moment. Is Gordo going to have another look into turn 3 on the Alfa Romeo here? No, thinks better of it this time. Looks to try and do what Sneddon did to him on the lap before. DRS now, of course, as they come down into turn 4. Looks like he might try and move up the inside, just what Sneddon did, and does get the move done then. But will Sneddon get him on the cutback here? This is brilliant racing from the top 2 drivers at the moment, and he is back ahead.
Yeah, fantastic racing, as you mentioned. Sneddon being very clever there and not being, being scared to try and take a move on the outside there and cut back in on it. I hope this continues on for the rest of the race, because if it does, we're in for a fantastic race.
And yeah, the fighting between these two is allowing Dobby at the moment to keep within a shout of a podium in this early phase. We've got our first penalty for corner cutting or T-jerk then in ninth place at the moment. The field very, very bunched up, to be honest. These three all together at the front, and then you've got a big trade between Tadas and Force Manure, I think it is at the moment. It's just cut a little bit of back from the points, but yeah, everyone really close at the moment, as El Gordo gonna make the move once again down into turn 4, up the inside. Snedden, can he get the cutback once again? El Gordo goes way too deep, and I think he's gonna be back ahead here, Snedden.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with going too deep there. That cost him the lead there. But once again, fantastic racing as Snedden picks up a corner cutter penalty. How crucial will that be towards the end of this race?
Well, it'll be interesting to see if we can find out, TJ, whether well, there you go. There's the answer. I was about to say how much has El Gordo got going on at the moment, but. Yeah, he picked up a penalty as well. El Gordo not making a dive into turn 1, sticking behind Snedden at the moment, waiting for the DRS. And then here we go once again for about the 4th lap in a row now, I think it is. This DRS really assisting El Gordo at the moment. Oh, I think the driver's got a little bit too close for comfort there. El Gordo throws up the inside once again. It's been all fair but harsh racing at the moment between the two of them. And El Gordo once again going up the inside. Will he get his braking point right this time? Dobby behind, looking to have a bit of a sniff at the front two now. And El Gordo just looks like he cut him off a little bit better that time. And Snedden hasn't got the run to get back ahead.
No, he hasn't. But once again, this is going to be repeated constantly through the race. I imagine that one driver will make the move, and then the next, as they go back around, the other driver will make the exact same move. It just shows how powerful the DRS zones are around here. But because this battle's ongoing, Tadas is closing that gap to the top 3, and along with him, he's pulling the entire grid as well.
Oh yeah, because Tadas now is 1.8 seconds back. He was about 4 seconds back just a couple of laps ago, so this fighting is absolutely not helping the front 3 here in their Quest Road podium. As Snedden looking to get past El Gordo then. Hasn't made it happen this time. Dobby now looking to have a go at the inside of Snedden in his first race. Not afraid to pull any punches against the championship leader. Doesn't make it happen this time though. Snedden going from right to left on El Gordo this time. Will look to come back up the inside as he has done before. But El Gordo positioning that Mercedes beautifully at the moment to defend against Snedden.
Yeah, I just want to mention that was fantastic defending from El Gordo, that was. But once again, all this is done is Tadas is closing that gap, and he is within DRS range now. So we have got the DRS change from 1st down to 11th.
Yeah, the breakaway pack has been caught, then this squabbling amongst themselves has not helped their chances in the race, and now Tadas is back on it, back of the podium positions. Got a Ferrari in the pits, I think, or he spun off the final corner and ended up near the pit lane. I don't want to leave the action up front at the moment. I think it's David Longface who has come into the pits eventually. There, as Dobby and El Gordo now fighting one another for Mercedes. Dobby a stand-in for Mercedes tonight. Not a full-time driver for them, I believe. But definitely at the moment not playing the constructors game and not afraid to get his elbows out against his temporary teammate.
No, not at all. And obviously, one of the main things we haven't really spoken about yet is that he's kept it clean while the other two drivers have been getting the corner cut pens. So even though he's racing close to him, he's still keeping it clean. And now with the pack being so close behind as well, them 3 seconds that Snedden and El Gordo have got are so crucial.
Well, Snedden, of course, will be glad that Tadas has been brought back into the fold. His teammate, he'll want him to get some points. El Gordo with another 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. It'll be interesting to see how crucial that is at the end of the race. Also interesting to touch on then the front four at the moment running the medium tyres at the moment. Then Hobnob and Locker are the first in the field to be on the soft tyres. Not been able to make them work so far, as Dobby looks like he's going to try around the outside of El Gordo here. This will be an impressive overtake. Couldn't quite pull it off there though, and has to sit back behind his teammate. But even with the DRS at the moment, it looks like El Gordo hasn't got any ERS, because Dobby again going around the outside of his teammate and gets into second place.
Yeah, Adrian has dropped it off the final corner again. He's got no front wing. He's got to go around the entire... He's had a nightmare, the lad has. He's dropped it in the same place he did in Q3. He's got no front wing, and he's got to go around the full track again to get a new front wing.
Oh dear. We predicted it. We did predict this would happen. Adrian in the mid-pack does not work. As El Gordo into the pits then.
That's a very... I'm going to keep an eye on that. Make sure it's not front wing ready, but... it is a front wing change for El Gordo.
And I wondered, TJ, if that was contact with his teammate there. We saw his teammate get ahead of him. But I wonder if that was contact between the two Mercedes that's cost him there, and he's had to come in the pits, as Dobby then makes a move for the lead up the inside into turn 3 now, and does get ahead of Snedden temporarily. But Snedden will, of course, try and come back at him with DRS. But has Dobby just been biding his time, saving the ERS, and he's now into the lead of the race?
Yeah, I mean, it looks that way. And he looks like he's got more tyre over than Senna, because he's great. He's accelerating out the corners a lot quicker than him. But yeah, just touching back on that El Gordo instance, I think he must have got a contact with his teammates. But he has put himself in a two-stop strategy. He's put mediums back on again. So he must be hoping for a safety car at some point, because surely trying a two-stop round here is going to be a disadvantage for him.
Definitely, unless we get some safety cars later on. Tyler's now picking up a 3-second penalty as well. Snedden with slightly more ERS, which you can see at the bottom of your screen there, over Dobby, but nothing really to shout home about. Still enough really for Dobby to defend at the moment. Snedden looking to come back at him now though, with DRS of course into this turn 3. This battle between Snedden and the two Mercedes has been absolutely gripping for the opening 10 laps here, and Dobby looks like he's going to try and come back here and get ahead of him once again.
That's a fantastic driving. I mean, if any of the tier 2 or tier 1 guys are watching, I mean, this is how you do wheel-to-wheel racing without causing accidents or knock each other off the track. This is a brilliant example of clean, hard racing.
It's been the best 10 laps of a tier 3 race that I've definitely watched so far this season, and it doesn't show any signs of letting up at the moment. Then Snedden still all over the back of Dobby at the moment, who, it should be said as well, has kept it clean so far. No penalties for him at the moment. Then for the back, Hobnob is all over the back of Tanas, but now him and Willybum both into the pits. Willybum a little bit early on here.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep an eye on Willybum, make sure there's some front wing damage. While you're commenting on the battle up front, as predicted, I'm not good to come in really early to get rid of them. If his medium tyres gone soft, I still think it's a little bit early for the driver, so he'll have to come back in again. Willybum was just genuinely changed, but he's held in the pits. Oh no, that was a decent kitchen. He just teleported out the pits, of course. But yeah,
teleports out of the pits, lovely. Let's look at the stops then to see who's been in, because the vast majority of the field have pitted so far. Then Locker and Iron Good both pitting as well. As Spenio, the only driver in the bottom 12 to have not pit so far. That explains why T-Jerk and Thomas Manura found themselves up in 4th and 6th at the moment. They'll be praying for a safety car if they can get one now. Snedden, of course, our race leader, and Dobby both not pitting, as well as Tadas, who all run the medium tyres and are looking to make that one stop that you talk about there, TJ, that the one stop work.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I missed something, but Tadas is struggling. Obviously, he got to the back of the top 3, eventually get on to the top 2, but he is losing time to him now.
We're just watching Dobby and Snedden trade places every lap at the moment. And it's really hurting their race, TJ. We spoke about it before, but they're just not getting away. They showed early pace to get a gap to the rest of the field, and they're not getting away now from the likes of Tadas, who's behind them. And the drivers that have already pit at the moment, the ones that aren't involved in battles that we're fighting with earlier, Al Gordo springs to mind as well, even if he is trying a two-stop. He's gaining so much time here.
Yeah, he is. And that's the advantage of the hard racing these two front drivers are showing that it's fantastic for showing, but it is absolutely hindering their races. And Snedden definitely didn't want this, and probably didn't plan for this either. So it'll be interesting to see how much tyre he is using. Obviously, it does look, given the stage we are now, it does look like he'll both try for one stopper. But yeah, it's interesting. As they are pulling that gap to Tadas, as I mentioned, they just pulled a second on him. So don't know whether Tadas has used a bit too much time up now and he's just struggling, or whether he's got a bit of front wing damage and just trying to manage it.
What we're seeing here, TJ, I've just been watching the fight between Snedden and Dobby out in front. We know they keep swapping places, lap in, lap out, but Dobby there in the first DRS zone didn't make the move. It was definitely an opportunity to make a move. Didn't do so though, and waited to the second DRS zone to make it happen. Do you think he's playing that tactically there? Because he knows that even if he gets past Snedden, there's a big chance that Snedden will just repass him in the second DRS zone.
Yeah, it is tactical, and it goes back to what I was saying towards the beginning of the race that if you're going to race close around here, it's hard to pull away because of the 3 DRS zones and the high speed on the straights. So it is going to take something special here to pull a gap, and maybe that's pulling the trigger to do a pit stop early and try and do the undercut and pulling the gap that way. But one of these two drivers has got to play a really smart move here to try and break that DRS to both equally.
Yeah, definitely. El Gordo has got the gap now down from the lead to 17 seconds, and so he's definitely gaining time while these two are squabbling. The Mercedes look like they've split their strategy, of course, forced by the damage to El Gordo's front wing. The McLaren's had a bit of a moment. I think it was FPR or Locker. He has managed to keep on going though in 5th place just behind his teammate. And what's interesting here, TJ, is that Magsy now is a lap down, but he's right behind the leaders here. But there's no chance he could lap himself on those soft tyres while this battle's going on.
Yeah, I've just been watching that, and he did look for a smooth on Snedden and decided to pull back. So he isn't scared to try and make a move. And he's looking at it again. He's going to do... No, he's pulled out for it again. So he is looking for moves to try to get past the leaders. And he is obviously not doing anything aggressive to try and ruin this battle we're seeing. But yeah, as you said, given what these two are doing currently, it's going to be very hard to get the move done.
Oh, contact between the top two. Then Maxi now looking to look to lap himself on the inside of Dobby. He has done. I wonder if Snedden will just let him go now. It's probably in his best interest to let him go, and he does do that there. So Maxi has unlapped himself, courtesy of Dobby there, smacking the side pod of Snedden. We just caught it there. Just got a bit of understeer, drove into the side of the Alfa Romeo. I don't think it got any damage from that either car. There was just a slight tap, really. But Maxi does indeed unlap himself, as he's entitled to. He's got much more pace than the top runners at the moment, providing, of course, he pulls out the gap and doesn't get shown the blue flags. He's more than entitled to unlap himself, and, you know, if a safety car comes out now, he'll be able to join the back of the train in place.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you know, given that these guys went away 17 laps on these tyres, there's no way they're going to catch Magdy back up. So it was the right choice by Martin to try and get the move done. As Al Gordo picks up a penalty up, so even if he is pulling the gap back up to the top two, with the penalties he's got currently, it's not looking great for him to finish him first, but perhaps he can still pull off a podium place.
Yeah, potentially we'll look at the penalties in just a moment as Skivid picks one up himself now. We predicted that we would see a lot of penalties in this race. This battle between first and second seems like it's calmed down slightly now. Dobby's just sat behind Snedden for a couple of laps. Both got relatively the same kind of levels of ERS. No one really holds a massive advantage over one or the other. I expect they'll stay out for at least another 2 or 3 laps before even thinking about coming to put the soft tyres on, maybe even 4. That's how good they want those tyres to be at the end of the race. Then Tadas has also dropped off now from the back of these guys. There's an AlphaTauri now behind the leaders. I'm assuming this is Adrian. Now, is he going to try and unlap himself? I imagine he will. And he is indeed looking to make the move on Dobby and does so. Is Dobby going to try and take advantage of this? No. Hasn't been able to. And I wonder if this is going to get Snedden a bit of a break in DRS.
Yeah, certainly. It does look like Dobby got a bit of a poor exit from turn 3. I don't think it'll be enough to fully pull him back, but whilst Adrian has got moved on Snedden, if Adrian had stayed behind Snedden, that would have really helped him out.
Yeah, it would have helped him out, but he is ahead. He's done a maxi, got himself ahead of the back markers. TJ's seen something on track. What's happened, TJ?
So Willie Bum, Al Gordo and Lockett all together. Al Gordo loses it coming out of turn 5, I'm going to say. Corrects it, hits the back of Lockett, and then loses his front wing.
Well, I was just about to cut to the gap between Elgord and the leaders because he made up good time having been forced to make that stop earlier on for a new front wing, but unfortunately he has been in the wars once again and will need yet another front wing, and he's into the pits to get rid of it. Now, it's a strange time for him to come into the pits because of course he was on the 2-stopper, and yet he has to put the hard tyres on then, TJ, now.
I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't tried to put a set of softs on, unless he hasn't got a new set here. But I think softs in the end would last, so I'm surprised he has put the hards on. But yeah, I think essentially, like I say to Carl now, Al Gordo doesn't really stand a chance to get a podium place, which is really unfortunate for the Mercedes driver because Mercedes his first race back for a long time. He's shown some fantastic pace.
Yeah, did brilliant in the last part of qualifying, and he's done well in the opening stage of this race. As Snedden and Dobby, now I think that was a late call by Dobby to come into the pits there. I don't think he was going to come in, but he's followed Snedden into the pit lane. He's not trying to overcut him or do anything different. He's looking to match him on strategy now then, and follows him into the pits.
That doesn't surprise me from Dobby. Obviously, he knew back in his head that if he stayed out and tried to go back around it, then would effectively pull out much of the gap out of him, he'd lose DRS. So that is very clever from Dobby. Although Snedden has managed to pull a gap on him somehow in the pit lane.
Yeah, whether he was a little bit better on pit entry or whether he was quicker in the stops, who knows? I can't imagine there would be much in it, but yeah, as you said, he's broke that DRS now. We've got a spinner. I think it is
Force manure.
Who is it? Is it Force manure? Yeah, it's Force manure down right at the back. Now then, so it's now Tadas who leads the way at the moment, yet to stop. I imagine he'll come into the pit lane on this lap, and I tell you what, TJ, he's the first person I've seen tonight take the pit entry, as you should, not crossing the white line on pit entry. he cuddled the inside curb there, stayed within the white line. That was nice to see. It's not quick, but
yeah, and
it was nice to see there from Tadas.
And as predicted, as I said, if he losing time, he has had the front wing change at that same time, so he was managing front wing damage.
Spinner again. I think it's Belente this time. He's been having lobby issues right the way through this race. We should apologise, really, to the viewers. If you've got a favoured driver in the field, we've not really given them much coverage unless their name's Snedden or Dobby, because the fight has really been with them pair.
Yeah,
with the entire race. Dobby's back within DRS, and Snedden picks up another 3-second penalty.
Yeah, that's really crucial now, and Dobby still hasn't picked a penalty up. Now I'm going to quick check to see how he's doing on his warnings.
Yeah. So they've stole the show today, really. There's not much else is going on Hobnob into the pits then. Has Spenio finally come into the pits? He has. He's now on the soft tyres in 12th place, running kind of his own race at the moment, not doing too bad on his FPRL debut, just a couple of places outside the points, albeit 17 seconds at the moment. The map is showing, but the gap between Gordo and Locker coming quickly down there. I'm not too sure what happened.
So Dobby,
That was showing 30 seconds.
the Dobby has got 2 warnings, so his next one will give him a track limit penalty. But obviously, Nadine somehow got to pull a 3 seconds above him, or hope that Dobby continues picking up the track limits. But given he's gone 23 laps with 2 warnings, I know it probably suggests that he'll either pick one up or he avoid any penalties at all.
Possible with another 3-second penalty. You can see the penalties on your screen now. Thanks for that, TJ. Yeah, so Dobby desperately trying to avoid that 3 seconds, but you know, Seven's got 6. Even if Dobby picks up a 3 at the moment, he'll still have 3 seconds to play with by the end of the race, and another 2 warnings as well, it should be said, which can be crucial. Obviously, Seven takes a very wide line through turn 1 here. In all this madness we're seeing at the moment, TJ, in terms of the racing and drivers spinning and getting involved really in their own kind of accidents so far. T-Jerk is currently up in 4th place. He has made a stop. I think he'll have to pit again though. He came in 9 laps ago, so what would that be? 21 laps on a... I think he should be able to do that.
Yeah, I think he can extend for here. So as long as he keeps it clean, he could be on some really decent points here.
I've come off the penalties. I can't remember how to get that. There we go. 6 seconds he's got. So we want to try and avoid getting any more than that if he wants a good chance at decent points today. But a brilliant drive from him so far. Kept himself out of the wars and up to 4th place at the moment, showing you how it's done as Dobby gets very wild then off the final corner. Very, very nearly slams it into the pit wall. Avoids doing so. There has to be a time here, TJ, with 12 laps to go now, that he just thinks, you know, I'm just not going to push anymore. I'm just going to stay behind Sed and get him on the penalties. Surely that's the most sensible thing to do at this stage for him.
Yeah, that is the most sensible thing to do, is just, you know, manage the gap. You've got 6 seconds to play with, don't do anything silly. But I do have a feeling, because it's his debut, he'll want to do this on track just to show he has got the raw pace to do it.
Yeah, and if you're just tuning in, you might be a little bit confused as to why we're referring to this as the battle for the lead, but as Willy Bum is currently out in the lead, but he's on a 2-stop strategy and will have to pit again before the end of the race, unless he has very disgusting medium tyres by the end. He might do. He might choose to do that. TJ might make it. No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He comes into the pits. Said he might do. He hasn't. He's coming to the pit centre to get rid of those medium tyres, and he gives the lead of the race then back to its owners, Snedden and Dobby, who have been fighting all the way so far, but they've got a very decent Valente in front of them at the moment.
Oh, a spin is out. Oh! I'm not...
And a drive-through penalty then for a severe collision.
I have never ever seen that before in this game. But a safety car has been deployed. I mean...
Elgord comes into the pits. I don't think he can serve his drive-through behind the safety car, but I have never seen before in this game a drive-through penalty. He gets a new set of tyres. He will have to serve a drive-through, but I've never seen
No!
a drive-through penalty for a collision.
No, I've never seen that before either. That's a new one to me. And that backs up how conspiracy that something's changed in this game. I'm just saying that right now.
That is very strange.
Yeah. I'd expect a time penalty, like a 5-second or 10-second item, but a drive-through. That's harsh, that is.
Well, to no one's surprise, a lot of drivers coming into the pits for new tyres in. A new front wing for Dobby as well in all of that, so he might be grateful for this safety car as he desyncs out of his pit box into the pit lane. But yeah, a new front wing then for Dobby.
I mean,
And Willy Bum back up to 3rd place.
yeah, Derby's really lost. Okay, you've got the pressure tyres here, but Derby's really lost out on that pit stop there. 3 cars between him and Snedden. In reality, he's got the raw pace to overtake him, but it's a lot to ask for with some of these guys on fresh tyres as well.
Well, that's something else. A drive-through penalty for Al Gordo. If you missed it, let's bring the penalties back up for everyone watching. Yeah, drive-through for Al Gordo. Contact with Espenio on his FPRL debut. Not quite sure what happened between them both there. That is a bizarre penalty for the game to be dishing out for a collision. Don't know what codemasters have changed recently there with that one, but he has got a drive through. Of course, he can't serve it behind the safety car. He'll have to pit. I think he gets laps for the safety car. Who knows?
I mean, the only way I can see a driver penalty being given there is that if he spun it, was sat middle of the track, and a Espinia has just slammed into him, and the game's thought it was Al Gordo's fault. But even so, I wouldn't give a driver penalty for that.
No. I'd let our very trusted Tier 3 stewards take care of that one. But Tier 3 stewards just know that the game has given El Gordo a drive-through there. I don't think we can be giving out anything more than that. Oh God! I think he served his punishment for his crime with that drive-through. Of course, once again he'll have to serve it once the safety car comes into the pit. So he is pretty much out of this race now, thanks to that one. Yeah, a driver who's come out of nowhere at the moment. Says Yorkie is I'm not good, as we've got a collision between Mr. Whippy and Mongo behind the safety car. Tut tut, Mr. Whippy, not Mr. Mongo.
Yeah,
Mr. Whippy.
Something happened there because someone just dropped it. Tadas just spun and dropped it.
Tadas. Yeah, thought he DNF there for a second, but no, he has managed to keep it going. He's dropped it behind the safety car. Has he got damage as well? He has. For a good measure. Did he collide with anyone there, TJ, or was he just by himself?
I thought he got hit from behind, but no one's been given a penalty for it. So he must have dropped it by himself.
Mr. Whippy's penalty was with Mongo. So
that was a straight. I'm certain he got hit from behind because I mean under safety car conditions going really slow. I don't understand how he's managed to drop it.
He has continued onwards, luckily for him, anyway, even though he's down in 30 now.
Yeah,
what's going on?
The lucky thing for him here is that the safety car's decided to stay out.
Right, he's coming to the pit lane there, yeah, behind Mongo. So he's coming to get that front wing damage changed, of course. Behind Mongo. I wonder if Mongo had from any kind of damage. Yeah, he's getting a new front wing then. So I wonder if, by the powers of deduction here, whether Mr. Whippy has hit Mongo, who has then hit Tadas in all of that. Because Mongo's had to come in for front wing damage and a front wing change. Tadas has had to come in. They were all relatively close on track, so I'm going to assume at this point Mr. Whippy has hit the back of Mongo there. Yeah.
Mr. Whippy's done well to avoid any front wing damage out of that then, considering that 2 drivers had to come in for front wings.
No. Yeah, so he stays out in 9th at the points at the moment. No damage to that front wing. Safety car in on this lap. I was about to say, Yorkie in the chat says, I'm not good, has come out of nowhere. He has indeed come out of nowhere. At the minute, 2nd place. On the medium tyres, though, there's some drivers around him on the softs. Willy Bum, for me, is the one to watch at the moment in 3rd place. He looks on for a good result. Hobnob as well in 4th. Dobby, of course, in 5th, looking to get ahead of him pretty shortly. As the drivers then, Snedden becomes the safety car through this final sector, backing the pack up quite a bit here to allow the safety car to go. A lot of drivers squirming all over the place. We haven't quite got the best camera angle. There he is, over the hill. And, of course, it's his right to decide when to go. Presuming he only goes once and doesn't stop halfway. And he's going to leave it right to the last here. He still hasn't gone. Coming up to the line now. Still hasn't gone. And now he's finally gone. Just over the line then. A lot of drivers caught out there. David Norway's out. A lot of drivers were caught out by that safety car restart. Sneddon, of course, deciding to leave it as late as possible. Mr. Whippy out as well from 9th place. Oh dear. A 5-second penalty for Willy Bum, ignoring yellow flags.
Oh my god. I'm assuming he got an overtake done through that first sector then, and the gate, he hasn't just handed the possession back. During all that as well, Derby's picked up a penalty, but he dropped down to P7.
Derby with the penalty down to P7. It looked like he was a dead certain for the win before that safety car. Down to 7th behind Locker now. Elgore's up to 4th with a drive-through in all that somehow. David Lawface is out. Mr. Whippy is out. I think they're up to the line. Sneddon's right, basically, to dictate the pace.
Yeah.
Of as technically the safety car. He can go as late as he wants. He left it, right till the last minute. We were watching the restart. He left it really until the last minute. The yellow flags were still out as he was trundling along. And it looked like, as we got a 5-second penalty from Mongo for corner cutting and gaining a place. We'll enter the 3 seconds now. It looked like, to me, TJ, the rest of the field behind decided to go for Sneddon. I'm not too sure what's happened there.
Yeah, I've only seen this similar situation once last season to give to at Portimao, where the leader left it to last minute, but the pack behind him decided to accelerate early and got loads of places made up from doing it. And that's exactly what this restart.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about with that one. I can't recall that one.
The restart that's happened there just reminded me of that Portimao incident where, for some reason, the drivers thought it'd be acceptable to try and accelerate before the leader's gone. And unfortunately, it has just led to David Lawface being caught out and Mr. Whippy dropping it.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a huge shame for those drivers involved there. But, like we said, Sneddon didn't exactly accelerate and then brake and then go again, because we were speaking about it, as we followed the restart. We've got a keen eye for that thing after some of the restarts we've seen. And he didn't accelerate and brake and go again. He kept a constant speed. And like you said, the drivers behind just decided to go again, to go before him, and huge contact between them, and 2 DNFs because of it. I think we're lucky that drivers avoided a front wing change here, but Sneddon's got a task on his hands here. He's got to pull out a 3-second gap in the next 4 laps then to I'm Not Good at the moment, or it will be I'm Not Good's first win in FPRL at the moment. Can he keep that gap below 6 seconds? Of course, the tyre disadvantage, he is on the mediums. As it stands, 10-lap-old mediums as well. Yellow flag out. Tadas retires in the pit lanes. He's not had a very good evening after the opening stage of this race. Really disappointment for him, despite being in contention for a podium early on. He's now out of the race. Willy Bum now is the driver who's got himself into second place, but he's got 8 seconds at the moment in terms of penalties. I don't know what to show you. Whether to show you the tyres or the penalties as things stand. But I'm Not Good yet. Now nearly 4 seconds back. So Sneddon is doing all he needs to do here to get that gap up to 6 seconds. The championship leader, as things stand, looking to extend his championship lead. Willy Bum, with that 8-second penalty at the moment, won't be on the podium as things stand. Force Manure has now retired. I don't think that'll bring out a safety car at this late stage of the race. Disappointment for him as well in the race today. His lucky break will come soon, surely. But as it stands, it will be Sneddon I'm Not Good and Dobby on the podium. Dobby, though, TJ, must be disappointing considering how much he was in with the shout of a win today.
Yeah, definitely. It's all just fell apart with that safety car that come out. He obviously got caught out and dropped down in. Obviously, with the restart, he got caught out what happened as well. I am just reading some of the stuff that's going on Twitch currently, and there's David Lawface is saying that someone did accelerate and brake, and as bad as all you covered it, we were watching Sneddon, and he definitely didn't accelerate or brake and stop and go. So unfortunately, if that is the case, it does look like someone in the pack did it. As Sneddon picked up another 3 seconds.
Oh dear. Sneddon then, in pushing to get the gap to I'm Not Good, has picked himself up another 3-second time penalty, but he's going very wide now. He's really pushing that Alfa Romeo. He's got no ERS in the tank at all. But it looks like I'm Not Good here, TJ. He's doing all he can do to keep that gap down, and he's doing a brilliant job at the moment. The gap is only 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job on the mediums. And I think this just proves what I was saying in qualifying, that the delta between the 2 set tyres isn't much. I know it's only been on the tyres for 7 laps, but I imagine that the tyre choice between them is pretty similar. With I'm Not Good being on the 12 lap old mediums. But yeah, he's on for his first podium here, and see if everything plays away now. Oh, sorry, first pole.
First win.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm Not Good off for his first win at the moment. Keeps the gap as we enter the final lap to under 4 seconds from race leader and championship leader Sneddon, who's I'm not sure he's going to finish now. Let's have a look at the gap to the leader at the moment. He's got a 9-second gap to Locker in P4 with a 6-second deficit in penalties. Should stop it on YouTube. As things stand, I'm Not Good now got ahead of Willy Bum on track. As things stand, Hobnob at the moment was on for a podium on penalties. I'm not too sure he is still on for that podium. It's looking very tight in terms of times. If he does, he'll just snatch it in terms of the penalties as things are. Smagsy gets another 3 seconds now as well. It can all change, even for the last final corners. Sneddon is going to round now the final couple of corners and at least finish on track as our race winner, but he will not take the win today, as I'm Not Good for McLaren. Looks like he's done enough to take his first win in FPRL out of nowhere. As LWS Yorkie said, he does indeed get his first win. Willy Bum there got a 5-second penalty over the line for an unserved penalty. I'm not too sure what that was for. But yeah, with his 8 seconds applied then, does indeed fall behind Hobnob then.
Yeah, I mean...
So Hobnob gets his podium.
I mean, this has probably been the race of the season for me, for Tier3. It's had action throughout the field, and the safety car obviously spiced things back up again, but yeah, massive shout out to Sneddon, Derby, Al Gordo as well, got put in there. You know, it was a fantastic battle we watched on track. It's a shame it got ended the way it did.
Yeah, ended in a little bit of controversy for a couple of drivers, but one of those drivers that managed to avoid all the controversy, I'm Not Good, takes his first FPRL win literally out of nowhere. I don't think Yorkie could have summed up any better than that. It really was out of nowhere. He started Q2 on 6-lap old mediums. Started the race, I should have said, on 6-lap old mediums. He made whatever strategy he came up with today work and takes the win for McLaren. Sneddon, the championship leader, gets a 2nd place. He might be disappointed with that. The win was certainly either his or 5th place Dobby's today, but that late safety car changed absolutely everything. Hobnob gets a podium on his Red Bull debut, 3rd place for him on the penalties. Willy Bum in 4th then, perhaps confirming what you mentioned last week, TJ. Willy Bum showing some good pace at this stage of the season. FPRR Locker in 6th place, Maxi 7th, Adrian 8th, T-Jerk in the end getting points for Alpine. A welcome return to the points for him. And Panic End rounding off the points, finishes in 10th for Aston Martin. We'll get to your driver of the day shortly, TJ. When the lobby ends, we'll get some people in here for an interview. A few DNFs today, unfortunately. Force Manure, Tadas, Mr. Whippy, David Lowface, and Aspenio. Force Manure, Tadas were classified though. 4 laps down. Should be noted if they get any penalties. They can serve it in this race. They were classified. Mongo, disappointing for him in the Red Bull, down in 12th, unable to match his teammates' pace today. And El Gord, as you mentioned, in 14th, TJ, despite having brilliant pace early on, unable to make the most of his race and finishes out the points down in 14th place. Somebody has got an awful mic at the party moment. Remember, boys, to include your audio on the party screen so everyone can hear what wise words you're about to come out with. And we'll see if we can get Snedden in for an interview.
Yeah, Snedden isn't here yet.
Oh, he isn't here. Well, there you go then. So we'll start off with 3rd place, TJ. If you want to interview 3rd place, I will interview 2nd place, Snedden, and you can take the leader. I'm not good.
Brill, thanks, Bill. As Bill mentioned, make sure you got your order included, lads. Hobnob, congratulations on your P3. How are you feeling?
Feels good. A lot of the people around me had penalties, so I just tried to keep it safe. And yeah, it was a good race.
I can't remember what the qualifying results was. Sorry.
I think I finished Q7. I think.
So yeah, I mean, even so, it was a good race for yourself. Obviously, you did keep minimal damage down, and your penalties low as well. I mean, did you find it tricky with some of the battles going on up front? Did you pick up any warnings with penalties?
I had no penalties throughout the race. At the start, I just tried to stay in the DRS of one of the Alphas. I'm not sure which one. Probably not Snedden. I can't remember his name. Yeah, just tried to stay on his DS. I think I stayed out on the softs too long from the start, but yeah, I wouldn't change much. It was a good race.
So we'll have a quick chat about the safety car restart. It looked like a lot of drivers were caught out by Snedden pretty much taking it to the line. Obviously, you managed to get through it pretty safely with no damage, etc. But were you a lot of drivers caught out? Were you caught up any battles going to turn 1?
Yeah, I was. I was expecting him to restart to the second to last corner. I wasn't expecting him to go to the final straight. One of the drivers behind me went too quick, and the other basically yesterday was back through, so that didn't help. But yeah, it was more. I was behind Willy Bum. He had the fresh softs on. Couldn't really keep up with him. And now I didn't really have many battles on the restart.
I mean, well, at least you got through it safe. That's the main thing, and you got the podium in the end. I would like to say this is your first official podium. Obviously, in Silverstone last week, you did finish P3 in the end once penalties were applied. But obviously, this is your first official podium made by the interview, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Just a quick one, looking forward to next week. I can't remember where we're racing next week. 2 seconds.
France.
Yeah, France. How do you feel about France? Is it a track you like?
I quite like France. I think it'll be good.
Well,
it'll be a good race.
We look forward to watching next week, and maybe you can continue your podium run.
I hope so.
Well, congratulations on your P3 Hobnob.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, TJ. Congratulations as well there, Hobnob, on your P3 today. So let's move along to 2nd place man, Snedden69. Snedden, we're usually talking to you about winning a race. of course, but unfortunately today wasn't to be your day on the top step of the podium. Just want to talk about your qualifying first of all, because I think we mentioned in qualifying you didn't quite manage to get the fastest time on the board until it really mattered with that last lap. Did you feel that you had more pace in the wet than you had in the dry?
Yeah, I think I did that better. It just wasn't really. I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, you definitely pulled it out of the bag in the end, in the wet, like I mentioned. The opening phase of the race, you were kind of racing along, of course, with El Gordo and the other Mercedes of Dobby. That battle really kept us thrilled for the first, definitely first half of the race, especially between you and Dobby. It felt like he was matching you for pace all race long. Then, of course, the first round of pit stops came. He followed you, and you seemed to find a gap from somewhere in the pit lane. Was that? I don't know if you saw anything in the pits, or how did you manage to break that DRS at that point in the race?
I think I just got a really good pit entry. I mean, I nearly binned it, and then I just floored it. I don't know how. Pulled the gap, but yeah, but it was right back in the DRS after, so it didn't really make much difference.
No, he definitely had the pace today. I think he got caught out slightly. He picked up front wing damage from somewhere. We didn't quite manage to find out where, but that's where that gap came in. Of course, at the end of the race there, you had that 6 seconds worth of penalties. You picked up that unfortunate extra 3 seconds pushing to get the gap. I don't think, even if you managed to not get that extra 3 seconds, you would have been able to pull the gap to I'm Not Good. But was that something you was aware of at that stage of the race? You just thought you're just going to throw everything at it, and if you picked up another penalty, so be it, trying to get that gap?
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of assuming that everyone was going to get a penalty and I'd somehow get away with it. But I was understeering the whole race, especially turn 1. And then I got that, was it the 9-second penalty? And then, yeah, I just sort of gave up after that.
Yeah, no, but he still managed to secure P2 today. Just want to quickly touch on, I think, on the incident. I think you knew you were going to have to speak about the safety car restart. We definitely thought on our end that the safety car restart was fair. You were very much entitled as the lead car to dictate the pace. We didn't think you sped up, slowed down and sped up or anything like that. We thought it was pretty much perfect from what we could see up here. Did you kind of know you were going to leave it that late? And if so, did you see anything behind you of anyone trying to kind of harry you along at that point?
No, I mean, I always knew I was going to do that at the safety car restart. I know it's quite a short straight, but I just knew I had to get the gap, and I think that was the best sort of strategy to do that. But yeah, I wasn't really aware of like anyone else like crashing or hurrying me along, but yeah, I don't really know what happened. I think they just sort of thought that I went, but then I went later, so I don't really know what happened.
Definitely, like we said, we think you were perfectly entitled to that restart. We didn't see anything wrong with it, and luckily for you, the head steward's on commentary, so that works in your favour as well. If anyone was going to try and pin the blame on you there, but well done on P2. Unfortunately, not the win for you today, but you do still extend that championship lead that you hold. So good luck for next week as well. We'll hand over, I should say, to TJ to interview today's surprise race winner, if you don't mind me saying. I'm Not Good.
Yeah, thanks, Bill, and congratulations on your P2 as well, Sneddon. So I'm Not Good, as Bill just said. An absolute surprise to see you win your first race for FPRL. How do you feel?
I have no clue, honestly. My main objective was just getting points. I didn't really think of getting a podium or top 5 at all. With the tyres I started with, I don't think I would have got top 7.
Yeah, we'll talk about your qualifying quickly. That we saw you in the Twitch chat saying that you didn't really have the pace and you weren't feeling it, and then you obviously started on them six lap old mediums, which me and Biddle both called saying you have to do a really early start. I mean, what was your thought process? Obviously, you had them to start on the mediums.
Well, yeah, the mediums were obviously there were over 20%, I think, most of them, and I just thought I was fucked there. I just didn't think I'd be able to get it back, and because in Q2 I saw my pace and I wanted to get in Q3 desperately, and so I just tried everything and I just stayed out for as many laps as I could, and only one lap didn't get invalidated, and I just thought I was done.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the rain saved you, obviously in Q2. We did notice that, and I can't remember who was on the fast lap who could have knocked you out, but the rain ruined their lap, which obviously got you through to Q3.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
No, you.
So we'll move on to the race. Obviously you kept it nice and clean through the pack. Were you involved in many battles? I mean, apologies, we were trying to keep track of the field, but the battle up front did take our attention, obviously.
Yeah, I've made up position, I lost positions. Nothing was really consistent. Nothing was kept going for more than one lap. It's either I passed someone and I just kept going, or they passed me and they kept going.
Yeah, I think I was repeating this up and down the track. We noticed it through Snedden and Darby and Al Gore when they were battling, and I did notice it yourself as well, and a few other drivers that I think it's just purely because the DRS zones around the track that you've got that speed to get past someone and get overtaken again next lap type of thing.
Yeah, it's a massive difference.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, we did notice it, and it's. But I mean, you still kept it clean. You didn't pick any penalties up, which is fantastic as well. We will talk about that safety car restart. See what your thoughts on it. You know, obviously we mentioned that some drivers they get caught out. Did you get caught out by it? Were you involved in any action up to turn one?
I wasn't involved in any accidents, but I did do something dumb. So when the safety car was about to go, I tried to get side by side with Snedden, but then he slowed down a bit, so I thought I went ahead of him, so it would have been illegal. So I slowed down a bit, but it was right after he crossed the line, and so I wasn't moving, and everyone else was. So I had to try and get my pace back and just sort myself out with it.
I mean, you've done a fantastic recovery there to obviously get back up and then get the win. Obviously, the no penalties helped shot there as well, which is fantastic. Obviously, France is next. I'm assuming you're going to be there. How do you feel about France?
It's actually it's a track I think I know decently well. It's one of the first tracks I actually got good at when I started playing racing games.
I mean, that sounds interesting. Maybe we'll be interviewing you again this time next week. Who knows?
Oh, I doubt it. I think I've been there on turn 3.
normal service resumed, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after this week, I just think the main thing I should focus on now is just consistency, because I think it really proved itself that it really is a major difference in time.
Yeah, certainly, yeah. You know, we have seen races decided with people being consistent, not picking penalties up, just keeping there and getting on the podium or race wins, etc. But yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. I mean, congratulations on your first win for FPRL, and let's hope for a few more from you.
Yeah, thank you. This is going to be the last time you see me up here. Been on every corner. Alright, well, thank you for having me, and I'll see you next week.
No worries. Cheers, I'm not good, as we'll pass back over to Biddle.
Alright.
Thanks for that, TJ. Thanks for that. I'm not good. I'll say it now, even if you left the party. Congratulations on your unlikely win this week. Showing really that no matter what starting condition you're in, you really can take advantage of a bad situation and get the maximum out of it. And he gets the 25 points for his race win today. Points in which I'm sure TJ will love for the McLaren team there. But it's not over for this week yet around Austria. We are back with Tier 1 tomorrow, of course, 8 PM UK time, 8 PM UK time on Friday as well. You'll see the Tier 3s racing around Austria. And as my co-commentator mentioned earlier, we are off to France next week. So you'll be able to join us at the same time on Wednesday for the next chapter in this Tier 3 Championship. But it's goodbye from me tonight. Goodbye from TJ. And we will see you again next week in France.